Welcome everybody to another installment of Red Cape Sports. Mitchell Bouchard, and what we're going to do is go over not only my recent sales but my overall investment strategy for 2021. What I want to do is go over my recent sale, kind of what I've been up to in terms of, eBay sales, what I've been acquiring, and how I've been going about thinking of card collecting and investing in general. First off, I am extremely bullish on sports cards. I have grown my collection probably more this year than I have the past, few years before that. And that's what I want to get into. Also, don't forget to smash the like button and hit the subscribe button. It's going to help us out a lot, because if you guys don't subscribe enough, I'm going to quit. Bird's going to quit. We're going to call this whole thing off. One thing I think we don't talk about enough is the idea of being very methodical in what you're doing. A couple issues I've seen in the hobby, and I've been guilty of it myself, is chasing the big wins and just getting into everything. You really do need to have a good long-term approach, because even in the short term, if you're speculating, which is fine, and we'll talk about that, overall, you need to have good quality cards, and this is why. So recently, I made a big sale, and in fact, I sold one of my Mike Tyson PSA 9s. So for those of you that haven't seen the video, I did an episode a long time ago, and I did a lot of research, and I found out that the 1987 Question of Sport UK Mike Tyson Rookie card was undervalued. And when I say rookie card, it's his first real card, not a sticker. Now, one thing that I found that I was doing really well, and I'm still pursuing, is the ability to get in where your losses are small, but your wins are very large. What I mean by this is you're getting in on an investment that if you lose, you're only going to lose a little bit of money, but if you win, you're going to 10, 15, 20 extra money potentially. So how do you do that? Well, what you want to do is you want to do the research and get that gut feeling and know exactly what you're getting into. Find something that hits off all these marks. So for Mike Tyson, I found that nobody was talking about him. I find that a lot of times some players are valued really high because they're doing big things and in the media and everybody's talking about them. When you're investing and you get in at the high, it could be very dangerous, because when something goes up, it's oftentimes going to come down. Now, this doesn't mean that it's not going to continue to go up, but you want to make the proper decisions. All right, so let's look at my Mike Tyson Question of Sport investment. I picked somebody who was in a sport that nobody was really talking about, boxing. Number two, I picked somebody that people love and that has had a fantastic career. So no matter what, you can't look back on Mike Tyson and think that he wasn't a good boxer. Number three, I did the research and I found out exactly which card to get. And then number four, I got in at a price that even after grading, I was in at about $280 a card. In number five, I got in at a price that even after grading, I was still in at maximum $300 a card. And I knew that potentially this card would be at least a PSA 6, whereas I ended up getting PSA 9s. Now at the time, I had 3 PSA 9 Mike Tyson cards. I'm in 900 and the value is $3,000 to $3,500 Canadian. So now we're looking at a 300% profit just a few months later. Now, there are also different variables such as timing, the fact that maybe it's because I did an episode on it and it got some views. Now, at the time of making the video, I'd only purchased one of the cards and I picked up the other ones a month later. So you guys had a lot of time to pick up this card yourself. All right, so my original plan was to get all the cards graded and keep one of them, which I am still doing today. So I have a PSA 9 and that's going to stay in my collection. The population of this card is very low. There are only a few in PSA 10. The fact that I had 3 PSA 9s, I didn't have to sell 2 of them. I only had to sell 1. So I sold one of the cards and I still have a profit of over $800. I ended up accepting an offer for $1,100 because I only had $300 put into one of the cards. So in fact, I was able to make profit on all 3 cards with just selling one of them. So I sold one of the cards, I made all my money back and some, and I have 2 PSA 9 Mike Tyson rookie cards. So this is going to be my entire investment portfolio. We're not going to go over specifically how much and what I have, but this is literally where I'm putting my money and why I'm putting it there. Ultimately, what I do is I invest my money into three categories, three overall categories. One is going to be Canadian dividend stocks. So that's going to be companies that have paid dividends for a long period of time, and my money can accumulate and I can compound a little bit of wealth. So basically I'll be taking $300 to $400 a month, putting it into there and buying very safe, reliable stocks. Now, am I a fan of stocks? Not really, but it's a way for my money to at least appreciate in value a little bit versus just holding cash. Okay, so that's gonna be 25% of my portfolio. That's kind of like my retirement, my long-term strategy. I also hold that in a TFSA, so the money is capped, but at $400 a month, then I can accumulate and compound the money, and if it goes up, it's tax-free over time. Obviously, there's a lot of rules and stipulations. I'm not a financial advisor, but this makes sense to me, and I love investing this way. Okay, so that's gonna be one of my three investment categories. So that's gonna be safe stocks that just grow over time, something that I'm not really taking a lot of risk with. Ultimately, if you're a Canadian and you're looking to diversify a little bit and compound money over time, it's not gonna happen right away. It won't even happen over 5 years, but over 10, 15, 20 years, you can start to compound the money and it grows exponentially. So anybody who's watching this channel, if you're in the US, you may be looking at a Roth IRA, very similar. It's basically gonna be a tax-free savings account. So within the TFSA, you should try to diversify a little bit. So for me, I have energy companies such as Enbridge, I have bank stocks like TD. So that's what I do. I diversify through companies that are big, safe, and they pay at least a 5% dividend yield. What do I do with the other 75%? And to be honest, I am absolutely crazy. So what do I do with the other percentage of my portfolio? Well, this is what I do. The next 50% of my investments are actually into sports cards. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I make more money in sports cards than any other thing that I do. As much as I'm selling cards and flipping things, I hold a lot of sports cards. If you want to have ultimate success in the long run, you should really focus on being an investor and not always speculating. So speculating will be, picking a player in their first year and hoping that it goes up 20x. That can happen, but I think you're better off speculating maybe half your money at most, and then keeping the other half on safe investments. So that's one thing that I've been learning. Now, if you're looking to get insane returns, you're gonna have to speculate more. However, I think you can hold really good cards and make really good money down the road. Don't be 100% into speculating. That's going to be you just thinking something's gonna win all the time, but it's not gonna happen all the time. Again, like Mike Tyson, I was speculating. That wasn't a very popular card then. Now it's starting to be more popular. But when I speculate, I really focus on one or two things. That's going to be Zion, Mukoko, and for this instance, Mike Tyson. Those are me speculating. They're not cards that were worth a lot when I bought them, but they went up because I got in at a good time and all those other factors that we talked about. When I'm investing in sports cards, I'm usually pretty confident and I'm right probably 90% of the time. The other 10%, if I'm wrong, I'm probably not going to lose the money because I already vetted the situation a lot like Mike Tyson. If Mike Tyson, wasn't a good investment, I probably wouldn't have even lost money. It would have maintained the money. So that's one real thing to think about. 50% of my cards are long-term cards. So that's going to be my Kobe Bryant rookies. It's going to be my Mike Tyson, which I still have. That's going to be my Austin Matthews 9.5. A little bit of speculation in there, but Zion, my PSA 10 certified out of 99. Cards like that, LeBron James, that's going to be my Charizard, my Venusaur 9. For me personally, a card that goes into my long-term investment or collection, I call it, it's going to be a card that is the card of the player. So one of the cards of the player. So we're not talking hoops, Luka Doncic, we're talking Prism or Prism Silver 10 Luka. We want to take risks. We've been fortunate to be lucky, and also, let's be honest, we got in at a time where the market has just been doing well, pre-COVID, during COVID. When I first really got back into collecting and investing, I was about 95% speculative and only like 5% into long-term cards. So I had to really open up the window and take a little less risk in a sense. But ultimately, the cards that I'm getting are still better cards. It's just they're not going to fluctuate as much, and that's what we're going to be talking about in the next category as well. So 50% of my portfolio, half of it's going to be long-term legend characters, players. The other 50% is going to be first year, new rookies, new players, things that I'm speculating on. Now, if the card market crashes, I could lose a lot of value overall, but the long-term cards are going to save me. And again, you want to really calculate how much risk you want to take, but ultimately how much money you have into the market. If you have $1 million worth of cards and they're all into, one player and that player could get hurt, you may want to make some moves. So I really recommend doing something somewhat similar if you're in the same situation as I am. So the next 25% is going to be cryptocurrencies. Now, you're probably looking at the portfolio and you're like 25% stocks, 50% sports cards, 25% cryptos. This guy is nuts, and that is true. I am absolutely crazy. I'm not a financial advisor, and you're probably like, this guy's a crazy Canadian. That is absolutely true. I am a crazy Canadian. I overspend on Timmy's every week, every month, and every year, but that's the way I like it. And I'm gonna justify right now why I do what I do. I heard Tony Robbins say this once, and it's been very true to today, and it's been the only reason that my business has succeeded through COVID. And that is the idea of having a business of today and a business of tomorrow. So what does that mean? Well, ultimately, it means you want to be making money now with something that is relevant, that is adding value in the world, but you should also be working on something that will be there in the future. So cryptos, for me, I believe in them. I understand them probably a lot more than the average person because I've been tracking them for 4 to 5 years. And I mean, I was buying Dogecoin in 2018. Now, if you look at the world in general, especially after COVID, a lot of people are online. And one thing that I was doing 3 years ago is I was developing a lot of online educational courses. And if you haven't checked it out, we have a sports card collecting and investing course. It's like 10 to 15 bucks. We'll have a link in the description below. You can learn how to collect and invest sports cards and trading cards, and we also have a Pokemon one as well. If it wasn't me predicting the future in a sense and understanding that we were heading towards online education in a bigger way, it was undervalued, I wouldn't even have a business today because a lot of the other things that I was doing in my business for video production, they don't even exist anymore. I can't legally go out and film a lot of videos. So that's what I want you to think about. Think about investments within cards, stocks, or anything else. Have a certain percentage ready for the future, because if you don't adapt, you're going to die. And that's just the reality of things. All right, so what I'm gonna do right here is just put a little chart of my little cryptocurrency index fund. Again, I'm not telling you to get any of these cryptos. If you know nothing about cryptos, I recommend at least doing a little bit of research. Learn how to open up a wallet. I'm actually working on a cryptocurrency course, so maybe we'll share that with you. But ultimately, this is a sports card channel. But put down in the comments below if you're looking to learn or if you're interested in cryptocurrencies and just how to do things like buy, sell, trade different coins. Let's talk about that in the comments section. All right, so these are some of the coins that I like. Ultimately, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, those are the coins that I love the most. And to get back on the Mike Tyson card and to talk about what is going on right now in the crypto market and how it can relate to you bettering yourself in sports cards, is the idea that when people are scared and the market is down, oftentimes, not always, it can be a good time to buy or get in. Now, I could be wrong. You may look back on this video and go, wow, this guy was buying cryptos and they went down. Well, you know what? I was buying cryptos 4 years ago and I didn't buy enough, but I did do well on a couple coins, and today they're worth, 100x, which is just unbelievable. So what I want to talk about is one particular coin, and that's Cardano. Now, I've been investing slowly on this dip, and kind of like sports cards, the next time we see a market dip and people are scared, they're going to sell off. Whereas for myself, I believe in the long-term vision of cryptocurrencies. I think they're here to stay. And in theory, the projects that are being worked on within the blockchain, the applications that are going to be built on Ethereum and Cardano, I think a lot of these cryptos are undervalued. So what I did with the Mike Tyson funds is I took my initial investment and I added some money to my cryptocurrency funds, which is Cardano. So overall, I'm even more diversified in different categories. And I also have categories within my category, which is going to be different coins. Okay, so ultimately I sold to Mike Tyson and I put that money into Cardano. If you guys haven't already done so, I really suggest checking out Cardano. It's a really cool project. I think they're an up and coming blockchain technology that is going to do a lot of cool things. So you're going to be able to build applications and NFTs on the ADA Cardano blockchain. So I'm not going to dive deep into what they're doing. I'm not an expert in it either, but it's something that I'm dabbling in as well. When I first got into Cardano 4 years ago, it was about 1 cent to 8 cents. And recently it went from $2.40 down to $1.30. All right, so that's all I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about what I'm doing. Let me know if you think I'm crazy. Actually, I already know I'm absolutely crazy, but let me know if you agree with anything, if maybe there was something that I said that has intrigued you. Ultimately, I want you to diversify a little bit, play it safe if you're not playing safe at all. But if you're playing too safe, maybe dabble into a little more calculated speculation within your card investments as well. Okay, so that's all we have for you in this video. I know I've been talking for a little while. Don't forget to join our community at Facebook. That's going to be at Red Cape Sports. On that Facebook group, you can share your cards, you can ask us questions. So that's all we have for you in this episode. Keep stacking, keep collecting, and keep investing in those sports cards.